People always ask how I balance my family life with 400 shows a year. I'm just doing what I love with the people I love. It's my magic life.
I like Wes Iseli. I like everything about him.
All right, this week it's just Natalie and I, and man, we got a lot to catch you guys up on. Do you remember what the last episode was, just me and you?
Sometime around Christmas, maybe? I don't know.
Was it the end of the year recap?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Well,
It's been a while.
We're now at the end of January, and boy, January flew by.
Not really.
You know, it did for me.
It was a long month.
You think?
Yes.
No.
Long, cold, half of it without power.
You know,
Not fun.
that week wasn't fun.
Snowy, crappy, long month.
The cold is getting to me. It's starting to really bother me. Like, Natalie, at our old house, our office was in the basement. And we gave Natalie a sun lamp in the basement.
Happy lamp.
A happy lamp is what they called it.
Yeah.
And it imitated the natural rays of the sun or something.
Yeah.
A vitamin D lamp.
Yeah.
And it's been bothering me because I can't walk my trails. I had to do work in my work shed yesterday. And I had to do work out there for like an hour and a half. And it said it was 43 degrees. I could see my breath. And I could not get it warm in there. I was jogging in place, and I had the heater on, and I just couldn't get it. It was awful. And I can't go in my garage. I can't get it warm enough in there to do work. I don't do good in the cold.
So maybe it won't be as hard to convince you to move south to Texas as I think it will be. Ha ha ha.
Well, I really love this house. I really love my trails.
Too, but darn it, we'll find something. Texas has a lot of open land, honey, and it's cheaper to live down there. And, you know, make all your money here. You got lots of money. Then you go down there and you feel even richer because you can buy a bigger house if you wanted to.
Well, I tell you.
At that point, we won't need it to buy a big, huge house. But if you want to, we could. And lots of land. No problem.
The podcast is doing great. The charity's getting up and running. The television show is rocking and rolling. It's just we're not doing as many shows. And myself as a magician, not doing as many shows, I feel like I'm letting my family down. And then I can't work out and blow off steam. I can't go out. My gym is outside in the cold. I did get it warm enough yesterday, but by the time it was time to work out, I was so depressed and sad and cold. I didn't want to go into the cold to get into the warm gym. So I just went out there and turned the heater off.
I didn't even know you turned the heater on.
Yep, I was all prepared. But, so I'm just, it's getting to me. And you're like, well, don't worry about the shows thing, because...
That's not your fault. If it was you slacking and just deciding you didn't feel like working, that would be one thing. I'd be on your butt and be like, Wes, we got to do something about this. It's not like we're not trying. It's not like we're not in the office working and trying to get shows booked. It's just, what are you going to do? Go down the phone book and call names? It's hard because it's still COVID times and people are still, you know, you got some family parties, but even in the family parties, they're like, well, this family member wants it this way and this family member wants it that way. And, you know, got to make sure that everything's up to par and this, that, and the other thing. And it's just, it's hard because everybody has different opinions about everything and no one knows the real facts. Nobody knows exactly what to do and exactly how to behave. Yep. And so it's just... it's stressful. Just hard, and so a lot of people are just foregoing the entertainment aspect of things. And
they're not doing anything. A lot of Christmas parties, they said they were just giving, here's a gift card to Outback Steakhouse. Yeah. Merry Christmas, instead of doing a party that they usually do.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not trying to bum everybody out, but it's affected me this year, and it might just be because I can't get my head off of not working as much as usual. And I'm freezing, and I can't, so I'm just, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, but besides that, and we had that week, so at the beginning of the month.
We've had snow after snow after snow.
And, 19-degree temperatures, 5-degree temperatures, and I know our friends and listeners in Montana and Minnesota, they're laughing at us.
You're so warm down there.
We're supposed to be in the South.
We're not, I mean, it gets cold, but it's consistently getting below freezing every night, and that's not normal here. So it's freezing and it sucks and I don't like it and I don't like winter anyway and I don't like snow. And so when we got snow, our very first snow we got, Lana was so excited and the power went out the first day. But they went out and played with it anyway because we were expecting the power to come on. And we kept expecting the power to come on. And you get your little updates from the power company that says your power should be on between 6 and 11 today. You're like, yes. And then all of a sudden it changes to 6 and 11 tomorrow. And you're like, oh. And then the same thing happens the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And 6 days later, you're still without power. And you feel like you're, oh my goodness. It's miserable because we have a generator. So luckily, you know, we're able to cook and keep our refrigerator on and turn lights on. But it's not a huge generator where we could run heat off of it. So, thankfully, we have a fireplace in the living room. But that was the only warm room once Wes figured out to put sheets over the doorways. That was warm. If you left that room to use the bathroom or to make dinner or whatever you needed to do, you could see your breath in the rest of the house. And it was miserable.
You could see your breath in the bathroom, and you could see your breath in the kitchen.
And every time you used the bathroom, it felt like you were sitting on a block of ice. So you'd hold it for as long as freaking possible. Because it was miserable.
So 6 of us sleeping downstairs in the living room. But I couldn't sleep on the couch. We have these new couches that lay out, and I just couldn't get comfortable. So I was taking Julian, who's the oldest of the twins. I was taking him upstairs and snuggling him under the covers and praying to God every night that I wouldn't suffocate him and that I wouldn't freeze him, because he wouldn't keep his hat and gloves on. But I also wanted him with my body heat against him. But it was such a battle. But I couldn't sleep on those couches. My back was hurting. My back, it just went out. It was awful. It was, and then being tense from freezing all week long wasn't helping my back at all.
And being on the couch was no better. It was miserable.
Yeah.
Because it just was. And then I had Lex, obviously, and he is just a wiggle worm. Oh my gosh. I would wake up and he'd be doing little alligator rolls because I'm holding him because there's nowhere, anyway. And he's doing alligator rolls, but he's 100% asleep. He's sleeping absolutely fine. He's just rolling, trying to get comfortable, and it wakes me up. He does it all night long. I'm like, oh. So getting very little sleep, uncomfortable sleep when you do sleep, and freaking freezing. Because inevitably, you eventually fall asleep and you get an hour or so, amount of time to sleep.
And then it's time to put more wood on the fire.
And the fire's gone out by that point. And I can keep a fire going, but I cannot start a fire. I have learned this in our week without power. Apparently, I am no good at starting a fire, no matter how hard I try. But I can keep one going. It's just when it's already gone out, it's done. So
well, and the whole time I'm sitting there with the storm and everything, I'm just thinking, man, it's going to be so much nicer in Vegas. It's going to be so much nicer in Vegas. I just got to get through this week and I get to go to Vegas.
And I was dreading you going to Vegas.
Well, so there's a convention called the Society of American Magicians, and Penn and Teller were doing a magic show for them. They were part of the list of entertainers that were going to be at the convention in Las Vegas. And they were going to be doing their show, and then they're going to be doing a question-answer period. But the coolest part of it was they were going to be doing my trick in their show. They're going to be mentioning me on stage in front of a room full of magicians at a magic convention. I wanted to be there.
No, I get it, and you went, but it's a lot to be left with twins at nighttime. Nighttime was my main worry, because nighttime, sometimes, every once in a while, they both wake up screaming, and at the age they're at and how big they've gotten, it's impossible to pick them up and have them get comfortable and be able to comfort them both at the same time. So that was what I was worried about.
But you had your mom and dad come over to help.
They came over to help, and the boys did great all the nights they were there. They left, and I had one night alone, and that was the night that both boys woke up at the same time and screamed their little heads off. And I managed, but I was in tears by the time it was done.
So anyway,
stressful.
guilty, making me feel guilty.
Hey, yeah, and you've promised me lots of massages and, different things, and
I'm cashing in.
I have not.
Don't worry.
There's no
Don't
cash.
worry.
I'm waiting.
When I got
got
home from Vegas, it snowed. When I was gone at Vegas,
when
it
you were
snowed.
gone in Vegas, it snowed and the power went out again. I was so mad.
But your parents were here to help.
Yes, but my dad had just had a hip replacement. My mom doesn't want to go out into the outdoors to get wood and do a generator, and I don't expect her to either. So it all fell on me to go lug wood and to get the generator started. And the generator was on its last leg. It needed a carburetor, which was on order but hadn't arrived yet. So we were finagling the thing to even turn on, and all this was happening while you were in Vegas having a great time. In Vegas having a great time, and I'm at home freezing with no power.
I had a fantastic time. I had a trip of a lifetime.
I know you did.
I really do wish you were there, though. I kept saying that. Everybody I talked to, I told them I wished you were there.
Yeah, I probably got sick of hearing it.
you could ask any of them. I guarantee they'd say that. But yeah, I mean, it's just, that's what I'm saying. The gloom and doom and the cold and the snow and the ice and we had so much tree damage. I walked the trails yesterday and just cut down trees that had fallen in the trail or that had broken but hadn't completely. And I was out there for hours.
Yeah, they're still on the interstate picking up trees that fell down from the very first storm, and we're 3 storms later.
But that was 3 weeks ago, a month ago at this point?
That was the beginning of January.
Yeah.
And, yeah, because Willow was still with us from being here for New Year's. And, and so it was snow and ice that first one, and that's why went out with power. And then we got more ice with the second one when you were gone, and I think that's why the power went out that time, too. But at least it lasted maybe 12-ish hours, and it was overnight.
But man, we watched.
It wasn't as bad.
We all sat in the living room and we watched some movies. We watched all the Die Hards.
Yeah.
we had movie marathons because there's nothing else to do.
Because it's not like you want to get your arms out from underneath your blanket to play a game.
No.
So you're just cuddled up in your blanket. And
you guys suggested doing a game at one day, and I was like, I don't see that happening. I was freezing. But we did get out and get groceries. That was a.
Oh yeah, that was what.
I don't know, but that was a good change of pace.
The third day into
you weren't completely shivering all day long.
We had to go get gas to refill the generator, and the roads were still horrific. On the last night, the last day of that storm, and we didn't know how much longer it was going to last, because apparently without power, apparently we had an exchange box where one company services a box and the other company services a box, and they share where the power grid box goes. That got damaged, so they didn't know who was going to pay for the box, who was going to replace the box, what company was in charge of the box, and apparently it was at the end of both lines that got damaged. So we didn't know if it was going to be another week without power. Yeah. So
we got a phone call that our RV was ready from being electrocuted, and I said, Natalie, we got to pick it up. So that last night we slept in the RV with the heat on, and we were actually toasty.
We were, but we used all that LPG gas. Yeah. So, luckily, the power came back on the next evening, late in the evening.
Well, we could have went to the store to get more gas.
Could have.
Yeah.
But we didn't have to.
Anyway, so that was crazy. Now, this trip to Vegas, I was really begging Natalie to try to figure out a way that she could go. I really wanted Natalie to go.
There's no way for me to go. There's no one that... Anybody who keeps my kids, I have to know them really well and trust them very, 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 very much, because especially for that length of time. But then also on top of that, to ask somebody to take care of twins who are still in diapers and never coordinate sleeping through the night together is a lot. I mean, they will sleep through the night, but individually. The other one will wake up. It's just how it is. So to put that on somebody, I don't think they would be our friend
after over.
We got home. It's a lot. And so I just,
So anyway,
that's just too much to ask somebody to do. That's just too much.
this convention usually happens in the middle of the summer. The big ones always happen 4th of July week. And that's when I'm always at my resorts, and we're usually slam-packed busy with county fairs, resorts, company parties.
Yeah, usually.
It's crazy. So this year it's in January, and I'm like, Natalie, it's in January. She's like, yeah, but we have no money. I said, yeah, but it's in January. I gotta go. And Penn and Teller are doing a talk about me. We gotta go. So I finally twisted her arm and begged her and pleaded with her and twisted her arm several times.
And I told you so many times, this is not fair. I haven't gone on vacation in years, and now you get to go on too because you went to the convention in September as well.
I worked hard there. I did.
No,
I got lots of new guests for our podcast.
Please. You were hanging
I learned
out,
a lot.
It was so much fun.
I had a blast.
Yeah, exactly. You were playing. I don't care how much you learned. That was play.
But here's the thing.
Vacation.
We might be that couple that some people think are annoying because we're always together.
Yeah, probably.
But that's just who we are. I don't... Natalie takes care of me. I didn't realize until I was gone from that trip how much my wife takes care of me.
Aww.
Because I am like a 7-year-old and she takes care of me.
You're funny.
No.
Back off a little.
No, I told you not to. I texted you and told you, don't stop. Now that I'm aware, that doesn't mean that it's okay. Don't stop. But whenever we go on an airplane ride, she looks up at the boards. She reads all the stuff. She looks at the tickets and reads, we need to go to gate 23. Okay. And then I'm like a little kid. I'm going to find gate 23. I'm going to find gate 23. But I never look at the ticket. I never look at the board. When she's looking at the board, I'm looking around. Look at that guy. His luggage looks like it's beat up. Oh, she's got nice shoes on. I'm looking around at everything else because the board is not fun.
Yep.
It's not fun.
Well, I told you, and it wasn't that hard, was it? You just got to read.
Well, here's the
signs.
thing. I tell everybody, I'm a bubble bath guy. I'd rather take a hot bath, than I would take a shower. So the night I finished packing, I'm laying in the bathtub and I'm just thinking about the trip, and I was like, something came to me what I told my nephew when he was learning how to drive, my brother's son. He failed his driver's test like 6 times. And I'm like, dude, what's the matter? Because there's people in this country every single day that aren't from this country that pass their driver's test. They don't even speak the language well. And it just clicked. I had a flashback in the bathtub of me telling him that. And I'm like, come on, Wes, you're being stupid. There's people that travel in this country every single day that go to airports that don't speak the language.
Yeah.
And they figure it out. It's not that difficult.
Yeah.
And then I was
Lots
like...
of signs.
And I was very... Calmness came over me. I was
that's
fine.
Good.
But I was supposed to go to Italy to do that television show.
And I would
months ago. And I would have been by myself.
Yeah. Because I was still breastfeeding at that point. But... you didn't have to go.
But I don't think we're that crazy couple. We just really enjoy being next to each other. We really enjoy being with you.
We found our soulmate for sure. Right?
Dude, that's what I said. I feel like I told everybody I just wish my wife was here.
Aww.
And then when amazing moments were happening, I even called you a lot when I was there.
Yeah, I didn't mind that. I liked it when you called.
But I called a ton. But so on my way to Vegas, before I left the house, I texted Penn, and I was like, Penn, dude, I'm going to be in town this week. If you get 5 minutes, I don't care, 24 hours a day, you want to go grab a cup of coffee or hang out, let me know. I'll drop anything at the convention to come hang out with you. He texted back and said, well, why don't you come to the show Friday night? Well, that's opening night of the convention, but whatever. I said I'd skip anything.
Thursday, wasn't it?
Thursday night. So I skipped the opening night at the convention to go hang out with Penn. And Penn's manager got me my own private booth. And I show up and I give everyone my tickets. And I walk around like a tourist. And I'm taking pictures of their pictures of Penn and Teller on the wall. I'm taking pictures of they have a sculpture out front. Almost making fun of Siegfried and Roy. Because it's like Penn and Teller in the jungle and all of that.
Like the secret garden.
Like the secret garden of Siegfried and Roy. And I'm taking pictures of that. And I'm taking pictures of everything. And the guy's like, let me see your ticket. I'll help you to your seat. Nope. Can I go upstairs? Well, is your seat upstairs? No, I just want to take more pictures. Oh, okay. And he let me upstairs, and I started taking pictures. And then they let me to my seat, and I have my own private booth. I got great tickets. And then the house manager comes over to me, and she's like, Wes? Yeah? She says, hey, dude, I just want to let you know that your trick that you invented is my favorite trick in the show.
Oh,
and
cool.
that Penn and Teller, that I really love how they do it and how it's my favorite trick. Anyway, I'm such and such. I'm the house manager. If there's anything you need, let me know. I'm like, I'm good. I don't need anything, but thanks. That's awesome. And she said, well, just hang out here after the show, and Penn and Teller are going to change their clothes, and they'll come out and do a meet and greet with you. Sounds good to me. So Penn and Teller open up their show, and they're like, well, I'm just going to reveal a little bit. Spoiler alert. I don't think it's a spoiler. You'll see it in the show. I'm not revealing anything, just a sentence they say. But they say, we haven't worked in like a year and a half because of the pandemic, and we were talking to our good friend Piff the Magic Dragon, and Piff gave us an idea and said, just stick with the classics. Stick with the stuff you know. Don't try to do anything new. And they're like, heck, we haven't worked in a year and a half. We don't remember the stuff we used to do, so might as well do new stuff. So they did like 90% new material in their show. It was phenomenal. And they said there's one bit in our show that we've actually screwed up. I mean, beyond fixable. Like, you just walk away from it, and you just... and then they reenact it, and then they just... and they wave their arms, they turn around and just walk. They said, and this is what we do. So if we do that, you'll know which trick it is. But they were talking about my trick.
Yeah.
Because he's talked on his podcast that my trick has failed for them like 3 times. Once it was his fault, once it was something else's fault, and once it was a third thing's fault. And I've told them all these things, and
yeah.
Anyway. And so that's mention number 1. And then he says, and the dude that invented that trick's in the audience tonight. So that makes me super nervous. Talking about me in the audience. And then when they go to do the trick, he says, that last trick we did was he levitates Teller in the show. Teller gets levitated. And he said, that's considered an illusion. Now, the biggest illusion you guys are all under the impression of is that you can win in Vegas. That's what builds these big hotels. You're not going to win in Vegas. That's a big illusion. It's statistical. And, then he gets into some math professor that worked on statistics. And my friend Wes Iseli from Virginia, or from the East Coast, maybe he says Virginia, an amazing magician on the East Coast, came up with this, what is the word? He came up with this test to prove it or whatever. And then he starts into the thing. And they do it awesome. They do a really cool version. The blow off at the end is awesome. The prediction reveal is awesome. I love how they do it. Everything was great. And then somehow, somewhere, I remember like them mentioning my name during that trick. And me like waving back to them. Like they put me in spotlight and I waved back. The spotlight could be my imagination. Because I felt like everyone was looking at me. You know? And then after the show, everybody's leaving and everybody's walking by my booth like whispering and waving to me and giving me thumbs up, and it's Penn and Teller's show. They're waving and giving me thumbs up. It was just weird. And once again, I just wished you were there. Look at the brownie points I could have. My wife looking up to me, because she never looks up to me. She's 5'12".
I'm 5'10".
She's 5'14".
Golly.
And anyway, no, it was awesome. It was awesome. And then after the show, Penn changed into his street clothes and came out and talked to me, and there was another magician behind me, and
hey, you got pictures.
we had a great time. And he was he had a cough that night, and he was saying he felt like the show was off. The show was great. He did have a cough on stage and whatever. But he kept his distance, kept his mask on and everything. And then I asked for a picture because he gave me a sweatshirt. And it was a special sweatshirt, and I wore it to the show that night. And I have to have a picture of this sweatshirt. So the magician's wife behind me, I gave her the camera, and I turned around to face her. So Penn was behind me. And I took down my mask, and Penn took down his mask and scooted close to me and got a picture. That was the only time we were near each other. And then we both put our mask back on. He stepped back, and we continued talking. And then that was it. That was the night. But here's the thing. That's Thursday night. I was going to be in Vegas for 6 days. And it started with that.
Right.
Man, I was on cloud 9.
Yeah.
It was so awesome. I had such a great time. I also grew up because I learned how to Uber on this trip.
Yeah, I've never done that before.
Anytime we had to Uber, I was riding with friends.
Oh, yeah?
We were in Cancun.
Was that an Uber?
Yeah. Tater got the Uber for us, or Bill Hopkinson got the Uber for us. We never had to do that.
Yeah.
We never had to do that. But it was awesome. I liked it.
How's your reading?
And I did a lot I did a lot of Ubering. Well, the first time I get in the car and
I'm saying, has it recovered?
what did I tell you though?
You said you were at a pickup location, but it
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
for Ubers. And so then the guy called you and he's like, I'm here. And you're like, where? I'm at this place. And he's like, no, you have to be at like the taxi pickup. Or
No,
something.
I was at a taxi pickup, and
Oh.
it says
And you
just
had to
tell
go
them where you
parking
are,
garage?
and it pinpoints you on the map. And I said, I'm here. I'm at taxi stand number 4. There's nobody there, and this guy had a heavy accent, and he's like, do, and you got to do, and I can't. I'm not making fun of the guy. That's what it sounded like to me. I'm like, zoo,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're saying. An elevator and 2. No, I'm not in an elevator. I'm down here at the taxi stand. And he was getting very mad at me. And I'm like, look, I can't understand you. Please help. And he started breaking down like he's talking to me like little kids used to talk like an Indian. You know, me, good, you. So he's
geez.
like, you walk elevator, go up 2. And he's trying to tell me. And I'm like, oh, you have to pick up on 2? And they got in a car and he was better, but just on the phone, it was really bad accent.
Yeah.
But you can't pick up at the taxi stands. He said it's a $200 fine. So it took me like 8 minutes to get to him. And he could have left because they have a 5-minute window. But I think he gave me a bad rating because I didn't know. But I've never
But
done
you
an
didn't
Uber
know.
before. And then I've
Yeah.
talked to other Uber drivers throughout the week. And they were like, yeah, it's really confusing here. Because anywhere else you can kind of pick people up wherever they are.
But at the airport, you have to be at a certain spot.
No, the hotels have special ones too. At the Golden Nugget where we were staying at the convention, you had to go across the street, go up to the second level of the garage. So that means he has to get in the garage, take a ticket, go up to the second level, pick you up, go out of the garage, give the guy the ticket back, and then go. He can't just pick you up.
Why so convoluted?
It's just the way they do it. I have no idea. I guess because you got 8 Ubers waiting for people, they don't want it blocking in front of the hotel.
Huh.
I don't know. But
So he didn't give you a good rating, that first one, but did your rating go better since you took so many freaking Ubers through the week?
And I don't know if I'm awesome tipper or not because my wife wasn't there. My wife is awesome. I gave everybody $5.
Yeah, which is crazy when you had like a $5.
Cab ride.
Yeah.
So I think I have a good rating. I don't know. Did I tip too much?
I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
For $5, for a $5 ride to tip $5 is a lot. I don't know how much you tip. I'm assuming it's like a restaurant where you do like 20%.
Well, anyway.
But that would have just been $1.
One guy, I told him that, what are you doing in town? Magic convention. Oh, what are you doing now? Well, I'm going to go see Penn and Teller. I'm a magician. Dude, I got box seats. They gave me box. Oh, that's great. Well, what time are you leaving tonight? Oh, it'd probably be, after 11. I'm going to talk to Penn after the show. I don't know how long. I might hang out with him I didn't know if I was going backstage or not. And he's like, well, here's my business card. You call me and I'll get you back and safe and sound or whatever. But I'm like, the whole thing with Uber is the safety of if they pull you off the side of the road and rob you or something, you know whose car you were in at what point. If I just get in somebody's car...
If you just call him, there's no record.
There's no record of it.
Yeah.
And this dude takes me to some part of Vegas and just leaves me stranded and beats me up.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway.
So I think you didn't call him.
I know I didn't call that guy. I Ubered.
I Ubered.
Anyway, I'm so hip. Uber's been around for 15 years and I'm getting on board. But I don't know. So what else? So after that night of Penn and Teller, they're supposed to do their show for the SAM convention, and the SAM convention was beat up with COVID. So Mark D'Souza was supposed to be there. He said, I feel fine. I got a little scratchy throat, but I tested positive. I can't go to the convention.
Yeah.
And then Penn and Teller tested positive, or Teller tested positive. Somebody on the staff tested, I don't think it was Penn, but somebody tested positive for the Penn and Teller show the following day. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, the whole time I was there, their show was canceled.
Except for the one that you got to go see.
I got to see the Thursday night show, thankfully, right?
Yeah.
So then they couldn't be at the convention, which was also a bummer because, and, but they had another guy, Colin Cloud, he came out there and did a show for Penn and Teller. Clarissa Hendricks had COVID. Eric DeCamps ended up coming down with COVID while he was there. So he did his lecture but couldn't be in the show because he tested positive while he was there.
Goodness.
It was just... I'm not even mentioning half the people. There was a Max Maven movie screening that they did, a documentary of Max Maven. And one of the guys that was supposed to be there for that it was him and another guy talking about Max. Only Jonathan Levitt showed up. The other guy didn't show up because he tested positive for COVID.
Goodness.
So it was just all over the place. And every day stuff was changing left and right because COVID positive. Or this guy, some of the other performers couldn't come from overseas because of COVID regulations.
Yeah.
You know, so it was crazy. But, what else? Teller didn't come out and say hi to me because he was super paranoid of COVID. Mm-hmm. So it was just Penn that came out and said hi to me. And that was just like day one. And I still had 6 more days left.
Right.
And you're at home and they're thinking about an ice storm coming.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What else? My brother couldn't believe I didn't gamble on the trip. I didn't spend one dime I was there.
Yeah.
But I'm not drawn to that like he is.
No.
Like I have to put money in my pocket and say that's gambling money, or we're going to Charlestown races. Here's $300. Here's $500. Whatever I'm gonna spend, that's allotted to that.
Yeah.
All the cash in my pocket and on that fun money credit card I had, that was magic money. There was none of that allotted to gambling, and I can do that separation easy in my head.
Yeah, and we didn't gamble while we were there when you were filming Penn and Teller.
No, but we also had Lana. It would have been a lot easier
really
for me to do it this time.
We really didn't gamble when we went before Lana either.
No.
Maybe $10 or something. I mean, we did a couple slot machines.
I remember one night real late we came home and we gambled.
Yeah. Yeah, but it wasn't
Was it
much.
like penny slots?
Probably.
I don't remember.
No, no, it was probably penny slots. But yeah. Yeah.
I gotta email one of the days. I'm getting all the days confused, but I gotta email, messenger message or something that one of my friends from my old high school was in Vegas, and she's like, "Oh, we gotta get together. And I ended up getting together with her one night.
It's funny you go across the country to get together
With a person that lives 45 minutes away.
Right, exactly.
But I haven't seen her in forever, and her mom's not doing well right now, and I love her mom to death. And I love her to death. I grew up with her. I mean, we've known each other since we were 10 years old. And her mom was really, even when you came to work for me, her mom was still booking me shows, right? No?
For what?
That had ended. County fairs and the illusion shows that she used to book me.
Green County Fair? Okay, yeah. She was booking. Then
I did the Green County Fair
least.
13 years straight because of her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I got an Uber. I went from Golden Nugget to Jerry's Nugget, and the Uber driver said, "I've never gone nugget to nugget before. This is weird." I said, "I don't know. I'm meeting a friend." But we just sat around. And talked. Her boyfriend was playing craps, and she was just sitting there drinking coffee, hanging out, waiting on him. She wasn't playing.
Yeah.
So we just sat around and talked. Let's see. I got a whole page of notes over here. Oh, I got to hang out with Dan Sperry while I was there. Mm-hmm. They had a bar atmosphere at nighttime. So they're like, "Oh, you can go up to I'm making up a name. You can go up to Troy's Lounge Bar if you want after the show." And all of the bars in the hotel, you just hear the slot machines in the background and ching 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 ching. And I can't imagine bellying up to a bar with 30 other magicians, 100 other magicians, 300 other magicians. You wouldn't be able to hear anything. You wouldn't be able to do anything.
Did that many magicians go to the bar?
It was so awful, right? That
many magicians went to
okay. That was my thinking of it, right?
Okay.
Because that's all the bars I saw.
Yeah.
They had rented a private club.
Mm-hmm.
This was a bar that was upstairs, away from all the slot machines.
Nice.
That had an overlook on Fremont Street.
Oh, cool.
I didn't check it out until the last night.
Did you regret it, or were you fine with it because you were doing other stuff?
I think I regretted it. I regretted it. It
Yeah.
wasn't what I thought it was at all. It was a fun hang.
Well, now you know.
You know what I mean? But yeah. But it's just with my hearing issue, I can't hear two things at once. So my baby downstairs last night, we were watching a movie. He's just running around the room with a pacifier in his mouth, going, and the people on TV are talking, and I can't hear two things at once. Mm-hmm. So with those slot machines and everything, I wouldn't be able to hear anybody. It would be like I don't know. It'd be awful.
Yeah.
But upstairs, it was great. It was still noisy, but you could get beside somebody and you didn't have to yell at the top of your lungs. Because the casino has the slot machines going off. They have music being pumped in. They had all the stuff going on. And I have to yell to be heard and hear. But hung out with Dan Sperry a lot. Dan's awesome. I love Dan. I hung out with Magic Ballet at the bar. Dan, Magic, and I hung out for a few hours and just told stories and just hung out. I had a great time with them. In the dealer room at the Magic Convention, there was Mayor Yedit, there was Lo Sander. You know Lo Sander. Mm-hmm. He does the levitation stuff. I asked him. He had a mask that you could see through his face. He had like a plastic face shield on.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had to wait for nobody at his booth. And I'm like, tell me the truth. I said, I don't do your floating table because I've seen you do it. I can't do it like you, so I don't even attempt it. Mm-hmm. And I said, does it kill you to see magicians do it poorly? Because after seeing you, pretty much every magician does it poorly. And he said, yeah, it kills me to see them do it poorly. Yeah, well, and he still sells them every day.
Yeah.
But Lo Sander, I mean, he makes that levitation. It'll put tears to your eyes. It looks like that thing is magic. It looks like it's floating.
Yeah, it looks good.
And, there's other magicians that create a character where they're a wizard. This dude's got curly, flowing hair, and he's got this, I don't know, like Viking look to him. But if he wanted to play the part of a wizard, he could play the part of a wizard in any movie.
Yeah, he could.
He could pull it off.
Just put one of them hats on him, yeah.
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 But he's awesome. So Norm Nielsen just died recently, and Lupe Nielsen was at the convention, and I'd only heard about Lupe, and I'd heard a lot more stories about Lupe from Ray Lum, because he said they're neighbors. And I went to Lupe's booth, and she had all these posters there. Now, I've been getting Magic Magazine since I was 17 years old, 16 years old. And Norm Nielsen posters are always in there advertised. And I'm like, why do I want a reproduction poster? Save up and buy the real thing. Mm-hmm. Her reproduction posters, his and her reproduction posters, are on linen.
Oh, wow.
They are not the cheap $7 posters you see at a Target. They are linen-coated posters that are beautiful.
Wow.
And she had a stack of them. I mean, it must have been 300 different posters. And they were alphabetical. And as we're going through them, she's saying, now the real one of this one, there's only 3 in existence. And Copperfield has one, and,
oh, wow.
She knows the history of every single one. We were on a break. There was nothing going on at the convention. Mm-hmm. But I got sucked into her thing, and I could have missed anything else. The history and knowledge that lady had about posters and how she got the posters. And this poster here, now I sold this to Copperfield for, I'm making up numbers. I sold this to Copperfield for $16,000, the original. And he returned it because he said he didn't like it. And then I sold him 2 others, which equaled $16,000, which was fine. But I really like this one. What do you think? Now, here's the reproduction. It's only 100. But boy, I don't understand why he changed his mind on this one. Now, this one, the original, was in Egyptian Hall. And Mike Cavany has half that collection. And this is the reprint from the Mike Cavany collection. And it's like, everything was it was amazing. And I'm like, Lupe, do you have a DVD telling about the stories of these posters? Because I could just sit there and watch that and eat that up all day long. And this magician was a well-known magician, but only if you lived in Scotland. And it was just all this different stuff was so awesome. I fell in love with that lady. And at the end of our trip, I gave her a big hug, and I felt like we bonded. I felt like, I love Lupe now. Anyway, let's see. What else did I have? I met Greg Gleason for the first time in the dealer room. You might know Greg Gleason from his appearances on, what is it called? Masters of Illusion. But he does a lot of big magic tricks and big illusions. And he has a lot of Doug Henning memorabilia. So I was talking to him. We had a whole conversation about my generation. I grew up loving Copperfield and Penn and Teller, and Copperfield had a special every year, which is a big production television special. I said, kids under me love David Blaine and Chris Angel. I said, is it the same thing? Because you love Doug Henning. That was before my time. What is the... And he had this whole thing, and yeah, it is, but no, it's not. And Copperfield did a lot of Doug Henning's tricks to begin with, and educational again. And we just hit it off. I had a great time.
Cool.
I've also got him signed up to do the podcast. Man, I have a whole list of people that I met there that I asked to do the podcast. They're like, yeah.
Nice.
Franz Harare. I grew up loving that dude. Franz made a space shuttle disappear on one of the World's Greatest Magic specials. A freaking space shuttle. He worked with Michael Jackson. He worked with Missy Elliott, creating them to do illusions on their tours. Making them appear, disappear, different things like that. And I asked him to do the podcast. He's like, yeah. No way. Nice. Let's see, Greg Gleason said he'd do the podcast. I don't know if you guys know Stephen Brundage. I'm dropping a lot of names here, guys. If you're not into magic, you might not know these names. But Stephen Brundage, I think of as a little kid. He's not. I think he's 31 now. But when I first met him was probably 8 years ago. He was at MAES, the Magicians Alliance of Eastern States Magic Convention, and he did a Rubik's Cube act during the contest and blew everybody away. Then he took that trick to Penn and Teller and fooled them. Same trick he did at the convention and fooled Penn and Teller. And then he went to America's Got Talent, did really well, and then, apparently corporate work and doing really well for himself.
Nice.
So I hung out with him and talked to him because, man, I follow him on Instagram, and that dude's life is like a roller coaster. It is like a crazy, wacky life that I do not understand in the least. And I love the guy with all my heart. And I told him, I said, all right, we'll talk about certain things. He's like, talk about anything. I don't care. I said, anything? Because I've seen his posts. And he's like, yeah, anything. I don't care. I got nothing to hide. We'll get into it. So check that out when it comes out, because that's going to be a crazy episode of the podcast. Another cool thing I got to do, and I talked to Steven for a long time. He invented his own, what are the cyber coins? What are they called? Like Dogecoin or Bitcoin. He has his own magic coin that he created.
For real?
That he's selling, yeah.
Oh
and
my goodness.
he's doing all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
But I got to meet and hang out with my buddy Rudy Colby.
Nice.
And I say Colby because my friend.
It's wrong.
No, you say it's wrong.
There's no L.
Okay, but I was talking, and spell check always fixes it. It always adds an L when I do it, so that messes me up.
There's no L.
But listen, I know this. I was talking to my friend Angel that I met.
Uh-huh.
I even told her I got to hang out with Rudy Colby. And I said Colby, and then I said, sorry, it's Kobe. I always say it wrong. And she said, it's not your fault, honey. We're from the country. We say a lot of things wrong. So there you go. But I was telling her about hanging out with Penn, and I got to... Yeah. So we're from the country. We're from Greene County. It's all right.
That's messed up.
But anyway, so Rudy was there. He hosted one of the talent shows. And boy, they really put his arm behind his back to host that show, because they were like, you can't do any magic, and don't be funny, but host the show.
Why couldn't he be funny? What's wrong with being funny?
You don't want to outdo the acts that are performing.
By being funny?
I guess. If the next act is a comedy act and it's not really that funny, where you were belly laughing at Rudy and then you're ha-ha the guy, you might not rank him that high in a comedy act.
And this is the competition.
Yeah. So Rudy, he brought out his legs. He did his legs act and kind of talked about it and kind of halfway did the legs act. Then he did a human blockhead. And he had a pocket full of nails. And he's like, all right, sign your name to one. That way you know it's the same one when you see it again. Just kidding. And he nails it in his face and pulls it out and gives it to the girl. And she doesn't want it. And I think he nailed it into a block of wood and gave her the block of wood or whatever, like he used to do or always did. And then he's like, all right, well, that should have been enough time. And he checks behind the curtain, are we good yet? And they're like, no. And I'm like, Rudy, do it again. You got a pocket full of nails. And he's like, I do have a pocket full of nails. But he was, you could tell he was flustered at it, man. It was just, it was hard. It's really handicapping somebody. And
Yeah,
it sounds like
for
they
real.
threw it at him at the last minute as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I told him afterwards, I said, man, if you'd have just talked about your television show or, you know, just little things behind the scenes of your television, both specials, that would have been enough for me.
Yeah.
You know, he was trying to do crowd work and do this.
Maybe he
and-
just wasn't comfortable just standing up there and talking. to
No,
people, you know?
who would be? Who would be?
You.
Well, if I was talking about my television special or talking about my show, yeah. If I had to talk about just random something, if you gave me a subject and just told me to go on it in front of a crowd, I could probably do it.
Yeah.
But give me a subject. He didn't even have a subject. They just said don't be
Yeah.
funny and
Yeah.
don't do magic.
That's weird.
But one night they did a movie night, and I found out the movie's for sale on Amazon, and I'm like, well, I have a huge DVD collection of magic movies, do I not?
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a magic movie that comes out, I always buy it because I love DVDs anyway. But my magic DVD collection's pretty big too. And I found out it's for sale on Amazon. It's only like $12. So I'm like, well, I'll just buy the DVD. I'm not going to sit in a room full of magicians and watch a movie. And if they're talking and whispering, I wouldn't be able to hear anyway.
Okay.
So I'm going to go see a show tonight. I'm in Vegas, man. I don't want to miss this opportunity. I don't want to sit here with my hands tied. So we went to see, me and the guy I was rooming with went to see David Copperfield. Now, I grew up Penn and Teller, David Copperfield. And I got to tell you, you know, some people say Copperfield's cheesy. Some people say, you know, they can't handle they say the word schmaltz. And they say he's...
What does that mean?
They say he's cheesy. They say he's, you know, he throws on the charm so much that it oozes fakeness, I guess. I don't know. I'm saying what the critics say.
Okay.
Me, I'm in that generation. I am right there. I am
Yeah.
loving Copperfield.
Yeah.
I got to meet Copperfield when I was 17 years old. My mom touched his... Oh, what was the shirt? What was the shirt? It was... He had a cashmere sweater on, and my mom's like, it was real cashmere, and I touched it. And, you know, it was just that type of... That's the, you know...
Yeah.
Even my mom was just enamored with the celebrity and the whole thing. But I never got to get a picture with him. And that's something I've always been bummed out about.
Yeah.
And I've seen him a couple times since, and just things didn't line up.
Yeah.
So-
I went with you and I didn't get to meet him.
We waited outside and watched every single person load up the show and
And
go.
the buses leave, yeah.
And we were like, he
Well,
must
we
have been
were
the first
told-
one out.
Yeah, we were told you can go outside and wait, and he might say hi to you on the way to the bus. We were told to do that. So we went out there, and I'm in a dress and heels, and it was getting cold. I'm sitting out there waiting, freezing to meet Copperfield, and all I got to do was watch his bus drive away.
He must have been the first one out.
And-
Or they said, okay, the crazy people are out
Yeah.
now. Run. Run, Copperfield, run.
Right, could have been.
But anyway, so
They made the bus go around the block and come back and pick him up.
maybe. But so they did a movie night, and I went to go see Copperfield. Now, I told a friend of mine that I was totally just a magic fan that week. I wasn't playing magician. I only did one I only did one magic set the entire time, and that's when I went to Jerry's Nugget to meet my friends, because they needed to check my book bag when I walked in with security. And I said, I have cards in here, but I'm not switching them out at the table or anything. I'm a magician. Well, you're a magician. Show me something. Now, this was like 1:30 in the morning. There was nothing going on.
Yeah,
So, you know, I pulled out the deck of cards and I started doing magic for him.
yeah.
And blew him away. And then somebody else came over. I was showing her magic and blew him away. And then I walked in and saw my friend. But I didn't do magic the whole time I was there. And I was just turned off. I was just magic fan that week. And I got to tell you, I teared up. I teared up at the cheese. But it was, I bought into it because When I'm tired, I get emotional. You know that.
I didn't think he's cheesy. I mean, yeah, he turns on the the looks and stuff, but I don't think he's cheesy.
I don't either. I'm just telling you that's what everybody. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And there's a lot of people that don't like him at all in the magic community,
Well,
and I don't have
think
those
that's
cliques.
true for everybody, isn't it?
I don't have those. Well, country singers don't like rock singers, or this country singer doesn't like that country singer because of this reason, or
Yeah.
I don't have that in magic. I mean, I love everybody.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, I teared up at the show, and I felt silly doing it. But
I wish I could have been there and pointed and laughed like you do at me for sappy movies.
well, no, I'd hit you. I'd have to hit you on this one. He did a line about his dad never got to see his success.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just thinking about Penn and Teller doing my trick in their show, and hanging out with Penn and Teller, and getting my own box seat at Penn and Teller's show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And how successful I've become. I have my own television show now.
Right.
I have my own podcast now. Our shows are, besides right now, our shows are doing fantastic. Everything's great. I wish my dad could see where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah.
why I'd have to hit you.
No,
Hit you in the arm.
You wouldn't hit me.
In the arm.
That'd be rude.
But he said he wished his dad could see his success. Then he showed some videos of his footage that his dad didn't see.
Mm-hmm.
Like him walking through the Great Wall. I guess he lost his dad before that or something. Or different stuff like that. And he wished he could hug him one more time. And I felt the waterworks coming. But boy, it just all lined up. It all meshed with me.
Yeah.
And maybe it happens with a lot of guys.
Hit you in the heartstrings.
You know what I mean? And that's what it's supposed to do, I guess.
Yeah.
You know? But, dude, I got to take you back to see their show.
I want to see
He has a dinosaur in the show, and it's the dinosaur production's almost like the helicopter production. So it's in that box, the frame, that the helicopter wouldn't fit in to begin with. And they cover it up, and when they open it up, it's a helicopter. But now it's a dinosaur bigger than the helicopter.
Yeah.
And it roars through the speakers. And
very cool.
It's awesome. The whole place shakes when that thing roars. The UFO was amazing. What? It was awesome. It was so freaking cool. If you told somebody he made a UFO appear in the room, you'd be like, yeah, right, whatever. Yeah. It reappears over the audience. But I'm in a balcony type seat. It's a rake seating, but then it has another layer of seats. So I'm at this pitch. Mm-hmm. So there's an aisle behind me, and then you can go up higher. Okay. I'm on the aisle. The UFO appeared in front of me. I can see above it. I can see under it. Mm-hmm. And it goes over here, and it goes over here, and then it goes to the stage.
Wow.
So the guy I'm with is like, it must be on a track. There's no track. You can see above it and below it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Very cool.
But it was awesome. If he took that outside and just played with it.
You get phone calls.
Oh my gosh. It would be awesome. So after the show, I asked one of the ushers, I said, hey, is such and such here? One of his right-hand men that I know works for Copperfield. Mm-hmm. And she just left. And then when she came back, she said, and tell me your name? Oh, Wes Iseli. All right. I didn't give her a card or anything. And after the show, Copperfield's right-hand man came out and said, dude, I saw your appearance on Penn and Teller. I just saw it backstage. Fantastic. And boy, Penn went crazy over it. It was awesome. And he was loving it.
That's awesome.
And he said, and I told him, he said, what'd you think of the show? I said, dude, the UFO? He said, yeah, man, you were in a perfect seat for that, too, because it was right. I know. I just saw it. And then he said, well, do you want to go get a picture with Copperfield? Yeah. And then I'm waiting back there, and they had maybe 15 people at the meet and greet with Copperfield. And I was the last one brought back. And I called you, and I said, honey, I'm here. I finally get my picture with Copperfield.
And I'm like, that's not fair.
Because you waited in the cold for 3 hours. But the cool thing is, so it gets even better. Copperfield, meet and greet with Copperfield. Copperfield he signs an 8x10 and gives it to me. I give my phone to one of his assistants. She takes several pictures with me and Copperfield. We have masks on. So I told Copperfield's right-hand man, oh, I got to come back and get one without a mask. Oh, yeah, next time you're in town, you let me know. I'll get you in here. Thank you. That's awesome. And he went and told Copperfield, he said, this dude fooled Penn and Teller. They're doing his trick in their show, and it's awesome. I got to show you the video. And Copperfield's like, okay. He didn't say much. And then Copperfield did a trick for everyone backstage. And that was it. That was the whole experience. And then back at the hotel that night in the bar area, Copperfield's right-hand man was there later on that night. And he said, dude, you were awesome. You were respectful. You are on the top of the list. You're on the list. No, you're on the top of the list. Let me explain to you. The way you handled yourself back there and the way you did stuff, and so many magicians do it wrong, I guess.
Maybe
and
they
he
just
said,
fanboy and like
I don't know.
take up too much time or something. I don't know.
But he said, I have my personal invitation to go visit the museum next time I'm in Vegas.
You can't do that without me.
He gave me his personal text number.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
You can't do that.
He gave me his text number and said, next time you're in town, you let me know. Let me know when you're on your way, and we'll set up to go see the museum. And
That's awesome.
once again, I was still tired. And
So
I
you
said,
teared up?
And I said, man, I'm going to cry. And that might have messed everything up. But daggone it, I love it so much. I love magic so much. I love everything about it. I don't know what else to tell you guys. I had a fantastic time in Vegas. Our friend Win, I had breakfast with Win. I got to hang out with my buddy Ray Lum. They had a Max Maven dinner one night, which is a specialty dinner. Max Maven's not doing good. He had a brain tumor. They removed the tumor, but he wasn't safe to travel.
Yeah.
Something going on. So they had Michael Carbonaro there. I got to say hi to Mike. Mike was really cool to me. I got a picture with Mike. Since working with him, I don't know. It was a few years ago. I didn't know if he remembered me or not. He was like, hey, Wes, what's up? Yeah.
Nice.
Everything was great. Matt King was on that dinner. Jeff, I was going to say Jeff Hobson, but it's Jeff McBride was there. Abby McBride. Rudy Kobe was at that dinner. It was great. I got to hang out with Stuart McDonald at the bar that same night for 15, 20 minutes. I told Stuart about our podcast. I told Stuart about our television show. And he's like, man, you're going to be one of those silent magic millionaires. He said, you're the one that's actually really doing it. A lot of other people talk about it, but you're really doing it.
I hope he's right.
And you know
I
what?
love it.
You know
Silent
what?
millionaire, I'll take it.
Stuart rocked that show that night. He did a fantastic job. I had to keep complimenting him. If you haven't heard Stuart's podcast, he did that documentary where he got to like 3% body fat, and he was a bodybuilder and got like second place in his first competition ever. The dude is determined, and when he developed this act, he said, I can always make it better. I can always make it better. And daggone it, he made it better. And then I'm like, all right, well, that's your competition piece. Yeah, but I'm going to take it to FISM. Okay, well, now you're allowed to go to FISM. They said, yeah, he's making it better. It's like, don't change it. But then I saw the act, and I'm like, dude, I don't know how you do it. He keeps getting better.
That's awesome.
That's
great.
Phenomenal. So anyway, Stuart, I love you, buddy. Good luck at FISM, man. We're rooting for you. And that's about it. I don't know. I'm a fanboy. I love magic. Thank my wife publicly.
You've talked about it for the most of the hour.
But it was just my trip to Vegas, man.
Yeah.
It was awesome, and I talked about Ubers.
That's part of your trip to Vegas.
But yeah, thank you, honey, for letting me go.
You're welcome.
If you can't tell, I love it so much.
Did I get one of my massages tonight? I would like a back massage. I got a crick in my shoulder.
Sure, honey.
I'm holding you to it.
I'm doing it. Not a problem.
Okay.
You
heard it. You heard it.
Because of the weather, because of the bad weather we've been having, our show that was live on stage but zoomed into the comfort of your living room was postponed. And due to the weather, our show is now on February 11th at 7 p.m. So you can still get your tickets at eventbrite.com. Just look up Wes Iseli. We're doing our full evening magic and illusion show. It's a fundraiser for a couple different schools, so get your tickets. That show is now February 11th at 7 p.m. Our TV show, Wes Iseli's Magiclife, is picked up by the Golden Media Syndication. They're selling our show across the country, so check your local listings. If we're not in your area, contact your local cable provider, and hopefully we'll be soon. Our show is on Nudu, which is on Roku, so you can check that out. Look for Wes Iseli's Magiclife that way. And the Houston market, we just found out, is the 8th largest market in the U.S. So, guys, you should be able to find our show. And check out wesisley.com for our t-shirts, Magic Life podcast t-shirts, Magic Man hats, stickers, playing cards, and more. That's wesisley.com. See you next week. Check us out online at wesisley.com and patreon.com/Wes_Isley for behind-the-scenes videos, blooper videos, never-before-seen footage, discounts on merchandise, magic trick tutorials, and more. That's Wes Iseli, spelled Wesiseli.